A senior female MP was subjected to a social services investigation after an online troll tried to get her children taken from her with a vexatious complaint about her political views. Why did the police react in the way that they did? Were they right to do so? Stella Creasy was told by police that they would not impose criminal sanctions on a harasser who bombarded her office with emails because he was entitled to the view that her children should be taken into care. Leicestershire Police said that even though he lacked any evidence, the man had a legitimate right to make a social services referral because he disagreed with Creasy's views on misogyny. Oh, good God. Stella Creasy told the Times newspaper that the police's reaction gave other trolls a green light to target the children of politicians and anyone in the public eye simply because they didn't like them. Well, that's absolutely right, isn't it? Is there another side to this story? Are we doing this for a whole hour? We're done. It's 8:06. They've done the wrong thing, haven't they? Right, who is this harasser? Shouldn't we name and shame him? He uses an alias as well, but Leicestershire Police react. The harasser used the alias Lance Jones and had no personal connection to Stella Creasy or her two young children. He had complained about the MP's campaigns against misogyny and violence against women and girls and her call to be allowed to take her breastfeeding baby into the voting chamber. That was quite a moment. And she's been really vocal on these matters. It's been tremendous. The Labour MP for Walthamstow, she is Stella Creasy. She was made the subject of a safeguarding review by her local council in November. I mean, she must have just been not only livid, but scared too. Who wants to go through that? Although she was quickly cleared, 8 seconds max, Jones was instead referred to police over harassment concerns. The council is legally prevented from expunging the complaint about her anti-man views from its official record. So what is she now, anti-man? Because she's had a moron going after her online that the police reacted to and that the social services felt compelled to investigate because of. Police ordered Jones to stop contacting the MP. Right, good. They told her she should expect to be challenged because of the public nature of her role. Jones, this alias, was given a community resolution involving an informal warning rather than a criminal caution. The out-of-court disposals do not involve a criminal record. They're not recorded on the police national computer and do not come up in standard DBS checks. So, in effect, nothing's happened apart from he's had his collar felt. A sergeant told Creasy that Jones was legally entitled to express concerns to social care. They will assess this and are unlikely to take any further action. Oh, my God. Joseph Kotrie-Monson, Criminal Defence Solicitor, Director of Mary Monson Solicitors on Fleet Street. Joseph, hi there.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning to all the listeners.
I hope that we find you very well. This seems sort of... okay, well, give us the legals on this. Who's done what right and wrong?
Well, I think, first of all, Andrew, it's important to draw a distinction between the outcome, which may be the appropriate outcome, because I don't know all the facts and all the things that were acting on officers' minds, and there are clues as to some of the justification for it. But then there's the letter from the police, from a sergeant dealing with the case that Mrs. Creasy has shared, and that, I'm afraid, it betrays an abject failure on the part, at least of the sergeant and the inspector, who I think has responsibility for this, to recognise her extreme vulnerability as an MP in public office. Rather patronisingly, in that letter, you've already told us it says that she should be prepared as a politician to get to be getting used to certain types of being quotes challenged, and that wording shows a completely unsophisticated analysis of the facts. What's the background, Andrew? We have a documented history of attacks, some fatal, on MPs and public servants. It's still fresh in our minds, isn't it? Joe Cox, 2016. I think David Amess, just a couple years ago. Do you remember that samurai sword attack in 2001? Andrew Pennington, a councillor, was trying to save Nigel Jones, an MP, from a psycho in his constituency.
And there was Twig as well.
Absolutely. And in this particular case, it was social services who were the ones being complained to, who soon realised that this man might represent a danger, and they contacted the MP for that reason. They were worried that he was dangerous, and that office used by the language, language used by the officer is really poor in the extreme. But I have to say that without knowing more, we can't necessarily say that the outcome is too lenient, because there was mitigation, and I'm not advocating this position, but I'm saying that we don't know, that there are mental health issues on the person, and he appears to have apologised and promised not to send more messages. There wouldn't be the possibility of a community resolution, which is still recorded on the Met's police computers. So it's not the case, it's not recorded at all, but you're right, it doesn't show up in a standard DBS check. And a community resolution may be appropriate in certain circumstances for a first-time offender, but this harassment may well go too far. Andrew, harassment through other agencies such as social services and lawyers, etc. The officer in this case is wrong. It is harassment in law just because you use another agent. And saying that exercising your right to challenge someone on their views somehow makes that okay. This is something that affected this woman's children.
No, well, and I think that's the difference. I'm actually going to focus in on that. Thank you. Listen, thank you very much indeed for outlining some of the details legally, even morally around that very well. Thank you.